Let's get started then. The recording is going. So, gentlemen, you are ready to do elder things.
Wow.
So, what do you wish to start with? The first Star Chamber meeting?
Assuming it wouldn't be in my chantry, but I mean...
It probably would be, actually.
Do we seriously have not any other buildings that would be
It's
good
been
enough?
4 months.
You are
This
like
is
the
the most-
safest fucker ever. Why wouldn't we use
Fair
you?
enough. Fair enough.
You're
Yeah,
assuming
you're right.
that no, the sheriff would certainly vote for holding the meeting here because it just makes sense.
Good. I don't oppose it. I'm just surprised that nobody has set up anything else. Tried setting up anything else.
I mean, that would probably be on the agenda for this meeting.
If you want it to be.
Not.
I don't-
care, really. But,
Alright, so. We're beginning the meeting? Is everyone
we
here?
have done.
I should be in here somewhere.
Need a
We need a bigger table. Yeah.
Can I summon a bigger table?
Kaldan sits down at the head of the table, the prince's eyes narrow. He did not miss that. There, the table vanishes and slides into the floor, vanishing into the bowels of the chantry.
Ooh.
Do this chair still stay?
What else can
I
you make
will,
disappear?
I mean, I would probably just leave the chairs. Other chairs replace them.
Ooh,
A
wow,
table-
this table gets food.
A table appears and slowly unfolds as you are pushed aside.
IKEA furniture, 10 out of 10. I like a bit bacon.
I mean,
Do you actually do that, Demi? Because this is an important question. This matters.
yes.
Like, is this gonna just be us five, or?
Yes, this is the secret chamber. This isn't the Primogen meeting. This is the inner council where you invited the Bruja into. For some reason.
Can't let him just. We can't let him run around, freely.
I'm just gonna be here, and they're like, next to the little girl. She makes me feel safe.
Pedophile.
Fuck you, bacon.
Okay then, let's start the first secret meeting. What do we have on our agenda today?
That is the question now, isn't it?
Well, do we know of any more Sabbat presences? Do we want to patrol the city to find any that remain? We do not know.
I've been patrolling for the last like 2 months with my litter of people. It should be clean by this point.
The Bruja sheriff just turns towards you, Jack Lawrence, and says, "Wait, you mean you haven't been patrolling?"
No, I'm asking if there's anything you know of that hasn't been patrolled.
Everything's been cleaned on my account.
I feel like he needs to make a self-control roll because you just impugned on his ability to do his job. So we're gonna call that strike 1 for the Bruja sheriff losing his temper.
No.
So I just lean on my side here and whisper, wait, so if we know about it, why wouldn't we patrol it?
Right?
He's just drumming on the table like, I'm gonna hold my peace for now because they invited me here, but this does not make me happy. Fucking Premier. Bacon, if your Sheriff Frenzy is here and you all have to put him down, that's probably not a good start for the city.
No, it
Probably
isn't.
not.
Yeah.
Well then, I suppose on to other little bits and pieces shattered everywhere. Let's see. Should we make some particular lines for who influences what?
I mean,
Was there anything you
probably.
were thinking of?
I was putting it out there for you guys.
I'd assume the Gangrel would like the park.
Well, yes.
The
Out of
war
character, don't I
leader-
already have it?
The sheriff just turns to the trim. The war leader already confirmed Halfdan's rights to the park.
Oh. Must have been thinking of another park. Oh well. It's good that thing is, at least that was taken care of.
Is there anything you want? Oh, so great regent?
Nothing in particular, no.
Oh, he's already in hostilities with half the rest of this group. Shit.
Would William have known that the park was already under the gangrel, or was that just a genuine fuck up?
I don't think he would have paid attention to what Halfdan was wanting for himself.
10 out of 10.
Mhm.
10 out of 10, Jaguar.
Okay. So, I'm just making a mental note. The sheriff thinks that the regent is absent-minded and potentially incompetent politically.
The game roll approved.
That's right.
Well, clearly we need to establish a clear peacetime control of the city, so there is the question of what resource I can expect to establish my department.
Yeah, that's what I, yeah.
Well, I intend to give you some monetary resources, and I will try to influence the local police enforcement.
Okay.
How much money? Because
Please, how much do I have?
you have a lot. Not enough to buy every single cop, but to make a good start and still be able to build your tower.
It just counts as a few zeros. That many zeros is enough.
Ah, crap. I clicked off. Bacon, give me a charisma intimidation roll to impress people with your zeros. To see if the
Can he automatically fail on me on this?
he, generally speaking, that is more for the sheriff, because that's where it matters, to see if the Bruja can be...
Would physical coercion apply, or eloquent?
Doesn't matter. you still might
Coercion
as
would
well.
apply, yes. So...
Sadly, it didn't do anything.
The sheriff just nods, and so I can count on you providing the money.
Yes.
And thus, the police department was handed to the sheriff.
And so the beginning of the end.
Damn it, Bacon.
Oh,
You have common sense, right, Bacon?
yeah.
I'm gonna retcon that and say that you're getting the distinct feeling that he's trying to manipulate you and handing him a fuck ton of power very easily.
I mean, I won't give the police over out of control to him. I will dominate and bind people there.
Oh, I'm sure that isn't necessary, sire. I can certainly handle such mundane matters myself.
No, I insist. Dominate was always one of my specialties.
He, let's see. Well, he doesn't have expression, but he has charisma. He gives a look to Halfdan. You're not entirely sure what he means by that, but it's not hard to guess.
My gosh, this is amazing already! Alright, so, real question, real quick. Isn't that stupid? Does anyone else even have influence or contacts?
Fuck no.
I don't know. At the table, Kurt would be the only one that does.
Oh shit.
So, yeah,
Feel free to hand him the police department.
Don't.
so this is really basically either me or him already having the influence over it, isn't it?
I think you said most of yours was to ensure the control of media as solidly as possible, though.
It generally is, particularly media, but any kind of contacts I got 4, so the influence is probably pretty broad in some ways.
This is another matter, like the specific focus of your backgrounds. I will let you decide how much of that is focused on controlling a specific area, if any, and how much of that is having sway citywide. So you...
Well, I was going for particularly citywide influence there, which was why I got it to 4.
Like I said, you can split it. If you have, for example, one specifically in media, that's enough to be appraised of any big stories and to try and put a spin on them. If you go as far as 3, you have virtually complete control and can just nix any story that goes through there. More or less at will.
Then what I need to do is gather more influence.
But yeah,
In that case, I will just go with having 3 in media and like 1 in just some general control places.
okay, then yeah, that will be going back to how you took over the city. Part of the reason why this was executed so well, because clearly that's an area you prioritized in seizing first off.
Hey. Masquerade fixing. Huzzah.
Okay, so last thing in the conversation was Kurt throwing a glance at Halfdan, which might or might not mean something. Demi, do you wish to save this from going horribly wrong?
I wish to know. What did he mean? What did he mean?
Yes, what did he mean?
Everyone roll
Okay.
perception empathy, difficulty 6.
Is it alright to have Auspex activated or not?
Yeah, Auspex.
Not after the fact, generally speaking.
Okay.
You can substitute politics if that is higher.
Okay.
It wasn't really after the fact. I was actually just asking, just in case. So, of course.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, epic. But
Dice said
Those
I'm
are
no.
both
positive.
no.
Holy fuck.
Yep, I say no. There's this look.
Yeah, you have a feeling that that look clearly meant something, or was supposed to mean something, Bacon. Jekyll, you have a feeling that these two might not exactly be on the same terms as they are with everyone else at the table. Demi,
Yep.
he wants you to back him the fuck up, because he can push this through on his own, and if he gets this, you're not gonna regret it.
Oh yeah. Just recap, since Epic was talking about influence. Kurt, the sheriff, basically is trying to get Bacon to give him the police stage. The police as the influence, right?
Yeah, essentially the question is taking over the police, and who exactly is gonna be holding the strings?
Yeah, I'm going to openly support Kurt.
How? Play it out.
Yeah, do it.
I mean, by the way, just out of character, another thing. How would I have known Kurt for a while, or no?
You met him when the city originally fell, probably. In passing, at least. So he's been
Alright.
around for a while. He's not exactly a super young kindred anymore.
Yeah. In case you didn't, because I do need to say this, I suppose. Generally, if I can, I'm activating Auspex.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
So how to proceed with this goddamn social things? I don't feel opposed at all that Kurt should have be with the police. I've known him for a while, and he's proven his competence. And given him the allocated resources, he can definitely prove a viable asset to the entire city.
Besides, sir, you certainly don't want to be bothered every time I need to have an officer run some sort of an errand. Your time is valuable, after all.
Yeah,
I can try and help set it up.
Perfect.
I don't really need the help. I have some small skill in Dominate as well, and that should be sufficient for mortals.
I think that you don't get the point. Yeah, definitely the lower officers will be under your control, but I will have sway over the higher up of the police department of the city.
I think this.
Oh boy!
Oh, Bacon, roll intelligence politics, actually wits politics.
I'm not even sure that's really politics. That's actually probably more of an empathy.
Bacon. Fucking yes.
Even as you're saying it, you realize that you are siding that were sort of whichever officers in the higher ups you personally control, because the promotions are gonna come from the ones he controls once those die in the line of duty.
Well then, when they get up, I think I will have to replace them. And I'm also going to leave some of the more trivial matters to my seneschal, that I will probably appoint as my child.
Let me just add another tick for clear went through favoritism and an attempt to dominate city politics.
I mean, how a venture would control a city if not this way?
Let's see.
Very smart. All right. So, does that mean we're done with the people in blue? All right. Let's begin with the people in black. What do we do about judges? Trials, things like that.
I think that should go to the prince and his seneschal.
So you want to
Again?
put everything on them?
Are
They-
you certain, Regent, that it is wise to put so much power in the hands of a single clan? Personally, I would have no problem with this, but the rabble outside might grow discontent with this kind of allocation of responsibilities. He really does mind himself as well. It's
Yeah.
Oh no, that was too hard for me to tell. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he was. Yeah.
So to who shall we allocate these men
Clan
in black?
Toreador would also be a good choice. Same with Nosferatu.
How would the Nosferatu hold a influence in this situation?
They are the one. They are quite adept at gathering information, and would be able to hide and acquire evidence from and to the courts.
I'm just going to give the Regent a very strange look.
I'm aware.
That
Uh,
seems
uh.
to give the Nosferatu a great deal of information and power when they already dominate that particular field.
That's not. I'm not even sure how they would actually hold influence there, short of the evidence part, which is a very small part of the judicial system.
If you want to come up with someone else, of course, you are free to give your suggestions.
I'm just curious about your the things that go through your gray matter.
If you're not going to make any suggestions about any other suggestions, I guess mine would be the best.
I'm just gonna note in the notes for Kurt that he considers the regent an enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where I start considering just kind of, not even letting the Regent into these secret meetings. He doesn't seem to have his head on straight.
It's
So-
just that he sees the power blocks forming and he don't like it at all.
What do you guys think of the Toreador taking control of the Men in Black?
It's fine by me.
I do agree. I believe that they would do fine.
They would do fine, but they do get easily distracted.
That is true, yes.
Yeah, as I said, fine.
As I said before, the Toreador were my first suggestion.
That wasn't why we were mining your gray matter.
Perhaps they should go to the Malkavians.
They're, don't they have a tendency to be a bit out of it most of the time?
Certainly,
I'm
but they
told.
can cover most. They can cover ground, a great deal of ground. Due to their numbers, they have heightened senses, and they are slightly less treacherous than the Nosferatu.
You prove a good point, Kurt.
Anything
I'd
to
like to-
not bolster the Ventru Toreador Tremere fucking bullshit. No, as far as he knows, that's a bad idea.
I'd repeal my suggestion of Toreador and switch to Kurt's idea.
You guys want to? I personally already have the major control of the media, as far as I know.
Well,
So,
I wasn't concerned so much as you personally, madame, but some other
Thank you.
members of your clan.
Okay. See if there's anyone that would be pretty good at it and see what we can do then.
So,
Weren't you the one that said earlier that giving too much power to one clan when Ventru were suggested?
Don't you already have 2 areas, basically?
The Ventru already control the princedom, and they're gonna be controlling the police.
That's
And
quite
the
a lot of
seneschal.
power already.
I mean, the prince and his child are still both Ventru,
Hmm.
and he's being raised up to seneschal. So yeah, I can see his point.
Okay, so it looks like that was a successful bribe towards the Malkavians. The plan is unfolding correctly.
Sure.
so Vivian, do you believe that the Malkavians on this city are mostly sane enough to deal with the judicial system?
I should know already some. I know just a little bit about some of the Malkavians, but are
Out
there
of character question
enough?
then, for Chris, since I worked with a lot of Malkavians, what would I know about them?
They seemed functional while you were dealing with them.
Except that one guy who was vicissituting. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, I've been working with some Malkavians during the occupation of the city, so, and from my personal experience, they've seen competent and sane and functional. Except that's one dude with the vicissitude. Let's not get him.
Oh, yeah.
I would just say
Byron.
depends who we put there.
Who would be your suggestion?
I was going to go and check who particularly would be good at it before I started limiting the numbers that way.
Epic roll a luck die
Sure.
to see if it's come up. Difficulty 5 for you.
Perfect.
You know that one of the Malkavians has the ability to ferret out secrets, and he has already started building up a noteworthy collection of blackmail on various interesting people in the city.
That's great. That's not coming up here.
So you already have someone essentially with influence in the clan that you know about. Not necessarily
yeah.
something that would have been shared with others, of course.
I was actually really trying to find out about judicial stuff. Anyone already have ties to that, or capable of holding up ties to that?
Not specifically. I'm not sure that skill at law would have come up. So give me a luck die at difficulty 8.
Not really a skill at law either. It's a skill of influencing people, but holding, holding sway over judges and stuff, particularly. 5 again.
Yeah, there are probably people. There's probably someone that can do it, but a specific name doesn't come to mind. But there are certainly people that can talk to other people among the Malkavians. The Primogen in particular was socially capable.
Oh, we could probably check into what's going on over there, or out of character, or I could do it myself. Worst case scenario.
Meanwhile, the Privileged Council is eagerly waiting the first meeting when they get to decide how the city is gonna be run. Little do they know.
Hey, one of the Primogen is on this council.
And he will never mention its existence until it's convenient to do so.
Mm-hmm. Besides, that's why we're being fairly general in some of this stuff, because, the Primogen are what handle most of the specifics. Alright, so do we want to do anything about, say, hospitals, the media, places like that?
Well, you've yourself stated, at least for the media, that some of your clanmates have already influence in it. Or was it you yourself?
I definitely do.
Out of character, would there be any of my Tremere that would be interested in the hospitals?
You know
You
your own
could
Tremere?
probably assign someone to take care of it.
Yeah, but would any of them be particularly interested in it?
You're a loner. You have no fucking idea.
Okay.
I really don't think you would, given your character. I think you just give them orders where appropriate.
Fair enough.
Well, given
Would
that
it's-
Twitch chat
yeah.
has raised an idea, well, given that the Gangrel clan currently only has a couple of woodlands, perhaps the hospitals, given that it's a lower priority area, could be something they could work at when they have the time.
That is a good point. But here's the thing, I'm not sure how many of us, well, I know I wouldn't be quite interested in holding hospitals, but maybe some of my clansmates would. Possibly Charlie, or was it Charlie, or was it Archie? Archie or Kristen? Would I know if any of them would have any particular sort of knowledge in that area, first of all, and the potential to actually hold it?
Probably they don't, they're Gangrel, but you don't want to state that out loud because then you're never gonna get the fucking position.
I mean, I'm certain some of my Tremere, one of my Tremere would be interested in holding it.
I think that if the Tremere have hold of the hospital, they should contribute a lot with rituals, because we all know that the majority of the blood that will be collected, instead of being sold or distributed, will be used on various rituals.
A most
All
excellent
right.
point, sire. We want to make sure that the supply is equally available to everyone. Glance at the regent.
I would ensure that they do not waste all the blood on themselves.
Just to be clear, by hospitals, we aren't also including those for the insane, correct?
No, of course not. This would be yours, would it not be?
Just making sure. Don't want to leave a loophole for you like that. Some people used to call those hospitals.
Just writing down asylums, Malks. Okay. Well, in terms of criminal organizations, I think the obvious solution is for my clan to manage those, given that we have already made inroads into those.
And then I
Going
think
both law and order. Congratulations.
It does make a very virtuous cycle, yes.
I think that issue, that point of interest, has already been solved, then, hasn't it?
Excellent. Stuff like culture, other less strategically important things. I suppose that, yeah, I suppose that goes to the Toreador to make them feel like they've been included.
I mean, it is
high
also
society goes to
territory,
Toreador.
kinda.
I don't think they'll mind.
I don't think they will.
Roll perception empathy.
Never. So, just
Minus
checking
2.
real quick. So, does it apply aspects here, or is it just a more general kind of thing?
It applies for reading emotion, so every 2 levels count for 1, if you're having it active.
Yes,
Totally.
we did state, both of us did state it earlier.
Bruh.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah. Demi?
1 second.
God fucking damn it. Okay, well, the two of you, you can tell that this pronouncement seems to put the sheriff into thought. You can clearly see at Epic that the entire high society being under the control of Toreador, he would really like to either spin it to make it seem like the prince is just throwing them something essentially worthless that isn't going to be integral to how the city is going to be run, or somehow make it seem like they're being screwed over with this if at all possible. Because that is not a relationship he wants to be strong if he can prevent it.
Ah! So I just need to do my own counter spin, which I'm pretty good at.
Provided you want to prop up the prince, of course.
Oh, why wouldn't I? Stability, for now.
For now.
We need to fix the city before we break it. The cycle must continue.
Jesus fuck. You didn't take the Maltime specialization, did you?
I couldn't because, you know, I don't have awareness that high.
Mm-hmm. Just give me a perception awareness roll at a flat 6 at a hidden difficulty with no possible botches. Oh,
Oh my
fuck.
fucking god.
Yeah, I think you would hear just faintly in the distance, just like a single da-da-da-da.
Yay. Bells!
Daddy's watching! Where the fuck is Demi?
I don't know.
With his family, apparently.
Fucker.
I know, right?
So there's the high society. Nosferatu still have the sewers.
I mean, it's assumed.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick, real quick countdown here. So 7 clans. Alex have media and judicial and asylums.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me.
Oh,
Tremere have the hospitals. Real ones.
Are you actually
Prince,
gonna let them have those? Because I don't think
well-
we decided on a final thing on those. It was... Did we?
Thought
Kinda.
it had kind of gone through somewhat.
yeah. I don't think that everybody was too into giving to the Gangrel. Besides just trying to give them more power, it wouldn't work.
Give them more land outside the city, essentially.
Okay.
I mean, if wait, I'm not the prince. I shouldn't be trying to screw over the Gangrel. Nope, my bad. Let's not say that.
Demi, do you... Or sorry, Bacon, do you want to piss off the Gangrel by giving them nothing? They are some of the most, you know, respected heroes of the siege.
He will give them stuff, but I don't think that giving them hospitals will be a good idea.
Be rather blunt. I don't think giving them anything that helps run the city is usually going to be pretty good. Most of the time.
It's like they're not
Wow.
meant to run the city.
I can probably give them control of the... what was the name of the people that control the national parks and keep the forest protected.
I don't think they would care.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're the environmentalists.
Like, It
a
allows
fire
them.
department?
It allows them to control potentially certain things, sure, but generally speaking, other vampires don't fuck with those anyway, and having the gangrel be a bit more grateful to them is generally a good thing because you don't want to piss them off.
When I want to give a suggestion, but I really shouldn't.
I mean, you can raise the
I
point.
have an idea.
Bacon does have common sense, so.
Not really so much common sense or anything, but you could reward them with, well, giving them a whole lot of domain.
Yep.
Various forests and stuff nearby. That's theirs.
I already suggested that, but yeah, it's totally doable. Can literally give them everything. All the swamps, all the... I think there's swamps near New Orleans, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's swamps and
They're
some
like
forest.
large swamps.
There's I feel.
Yeah, like give them all that and some extra forest as well, because hey, that's all your domain now.
I didn't really want to suggest it personally because that's actually fucking the gangrel in a pretty big way.
You don't say!
I mean, next thing they
It's
ask
one of
for
those
is
things-
embrace rights, or then he just puts out the call that he needs half a dozen neonates to help manage things. And suddenly you have gangrel start arriving.
I mean, that's not actually the issue. The bigger issue is that with so much domain, it's actually almost impossible to even have control over it. And anything that happens in them is their fault, so, fuck.
The sheriff will
Wait for-
cover them.
Let's wait for Demi arrive. We give him the proposition of holding a lot of domain. If he gets happy, it's a good thing.
What the fuck is Demi?
Answering some with his family, I think.
I know, but like, it's been more than 5 minutes, damn it. The liar.
Oh,
God's fucking God. Demi.
no Demi.
Uh,
It is Demi plus these days.
I mean, if you want to reward him, you could do what Emperor is suggesting and just give him embrace rights. Like a lot of embrace rights.
that's a bad recipe for destruction.
Yeah.
Like having a lot of neonates running around, bad idea.
It'll start off as fledglings. Thank you.
Yeah, but eventually they'll turn into neonates.
50
they
years
survive long.
later, the army is ready. The 3 embraces you know about and the half dozen you don't know about, plus an equal number of Bruja that have been living in the woods, getting blood carried to them occasionally. Just a redneck army descending on the city.
Oh gods.
Wait, New Orleans is already a tourist city, or it's just later that it becomes one?
It's a pretty
a
large
tourist?
city already.
Yes. Its thing has been tourism ever since most of its beginning, kind of.
Yeah, it's like tourist. I think we gave that with the tutorial already though. With the
You gave them high society.
cultural stuff as well as what they
Yeah.
That was
It-
the sheriff that did the
Blue
culture stuff. So
yeah. And he did say that, so I would assume that would go to them as well.
Tourism isn't culture, specifically.
Yeah,
No,
it
it is.
actually
He
is not
suggested
really.
things like essentially opera houses and the like, based on context.
I can't give that to them too. Damn it.
I mean, you can.
I mean, that's kind of a hard thing to really for us to particularly control.
We can give it to them nominally and tell them to clean up the mess, any messes happen.
I wanted to go to the Mardi Gras.
You could give that
I
too
mean-
to the Malkavians. What could go wrong?
No.
No, the Malkavians can't have more power.
It's already at critical mass. One more hit, one more dot somewhere would push it over. It's so close.
What you're saying is I will now control the fire department?
Oh gods, no. Demi, what the fuck?
I know. Sudden.
Are you good for now,
break.
or...
Might be like AFK for like in 5 minutes for maybe about 30 seconds. That's it.
Okay.
We have a question for you.
Yes.
Bacon?
Would you like to have a lot of domain?
I mean, for me personally, or is it for my clan?
Your
For
clan.
you and the clan. I mean, you are the clan, basically.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm asking if are you personally giving me domain, or is it just going to be around? I'll take the offer up. Yes.
All right, you have everything around New Orleans. The forest, the swamps, everything. All for
Sweet.
you.
Wait. Yes. All for me. Yes.
No,
thank you.
discuss this in character. Bacon, roll manipulation subterfuge. You dumb fuck. Roll perception empathy to save yourself.
Shit.
So,
So, I have a feeling my character already knows about this kind of thing. He's just gonna watch him carefully to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake. And if she
can I,
needs to,
can I
she'll be
spend
about helping.
willpower on that?
Yes.
Cunt.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
It seems like a perfectly legit thing, and it looks like they're just... Bacon, outline it in character. Exactly what domain are you offering him? And you can roll perception empathy, the two of you as well, to see that this might be a trap. Bacon.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know.
Yeah, play it out in character, exactly what you're offering him.
I'll roll my perception empathy. God damn. Damn, that's fucking epic with 10 successes.
Oh, that's 11. I have insightful.
No.
If you
I don't
would
think that
please let Bacon outline the fucking proposal, for fuck's sake.
He hasn't been talking, that's why we have...
He was trying to, while Jackal was screaming about your
Sorry.
successes.
Oh, I couldn't even hear him. Okay.
So, how then, you would get the OT area around the metropolitan area of the city.
So everything around the city then.
Yes.
That's a lot of land.
I mean-
Demi, question. Can I send you thoughts? Have we sent thoughts before?
I
Do
mean,
you get
here's the
panicked by
thing.
this?
It would be sudden. That's why I'm not sure. Like you just suddenly tell.
You would
like,
roll with
telepathic.
self-control not to give it away. Or actually with subterfuge, more likely.
Fuck. God damn it.
In that case, screw that. We'll just speak openly for a moment. Are you sure you want to go about it that way? That's a lot of land to try and manage. This is me trying to be subtly hinting at a certain somebody that there is a problem here.
Roll perception, empathy.
Is there a way I can assist him in this?
Other than telepathically speaking to him? Not really, no. It's an awful lot of land, Demi.
Yeah, it is an awful lot of land.
The
And, I
area
don't
where
have any-
there's usually lupines, and which, in practice, is already under the control of Gangrel because they're the only ones that go there with any regularity. They're not really giving you
Making it-
anything new.
Making it official means you are going to be blamed for all the problems that could happen in there, including the lupines.
Okay, that is fair. Now that I kind of get the sort of gist of what's going on, I still, here's the thing. I still want land, but I don't want all of it now, I guess.
Demi,
More of like,
if they're offering to reward you, just ask for something in the city, next to your park, for example.
I don't know the city. Like, is there more parks around that I can take?
You already control the biggest one.
Yeah, but I mean like other parks.
Do you want your clay to be spread out and separated? It looks like there's one in Lakewood that's pretty big as well. At least it looks like a park.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I guess I'll go for that then. Something much more closer, like a bit more centralized here around the city park, actually. So
I
I'll
mean,
probably
this just
think
means you're slowly trying to completely surround the chantry, that's all.
I see
yeah,
nothing wrong with this.
yeah, I'll probably try and see to get maybe the Lakewood. Since they're offering me a lot of land, I'll also ask a lot of land, but in the city. Navarre maybe a little bit of fairgrounds because that seems like it has some open land there nicely. That place.
I'd suggest Lakeshore Vista.
Hey, a quick note. Lakewood is not a park, it's a cemetery, a big one.
Oh,
Do you want to save it
Yeah.
for any Giovanni that arrive?
I'd suggest that, yes.
Yeah,
Might as well.
I mean,
if it's
And
in
yeah,
front of
I'd
the
also say, land within the city is a lot more valuable than outside, isn't it?
Nah.
Well,
I
and
think
this is the sheriff speaking up towards the Tremere Regent. Well, I feel like the clan that did most of the fighting should be rewarded with territory in this general area over the one that did the least actual fighting.
I'm making a song for this guy.
Balls of steel right there, eh? Sitting in the
I'm so
fucking
Balkanian
couch.
has no problems with this. This sounds like a great idea.
I'm so tempted to just ask, so where's the territory that you want to give to the Bruja? Just for the lows.
Don't worry about it. So, is there anything else to try and avoid, having anyone stepping on anyone's toes?
Just for clarifying, the territory around the current domain of one of the Nosferatu should be probably given to that clan as well.
Trying to move them, aren't you?
I'm not sure they would appreciate the gift the way it's meant, sire.
That does seem like a bit of an insult to both.
I don't see your point.
Well, they are either gonna... Oh, it seems to me like they are just gonna expect more without showing any gratitude. And in order to really make them happy, you would have to give away like quarter of the city to them, and that in turn seems excessive.
It's a fair point. I just wanted to keep them happy so they don't bother us.
I'm sure they would just convince themselves that you're simply trying to buy them. They can roll perception empathy on this guy.
Are we talking about the
I'm going to
Nosferatu
as
or the
well.
Gangrel right now?
The
I'm confused as
Nosferatu.
well. I think Nosferatu,
Actually,
yeah.
you said your Mythoseri is active.
Yes.
He is lying when he says he thinks they won't appreciate it.
How does your what effect did he choose for it to be active?
It
Mythosari
doesn't.
just detects lies.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't just.
It
detect
doesn't
lies.
matter. It doesn't have to be visible. It's meaningless in practical terms what he chooses for it, unless it's something really visible, which it
That
won't
was
be
the
unless
question.
he specifically wants it to be.
Okay.
But yeah, he's lying at the very least about thinking the Nosferatu would be unappreciative.
Okay, so they will appreciate and they will think that I'm trying to buy them. So I don't see a problem with that. No, we should give that area to the Nosferatu. Remind them that we treat them well. They will usually get uh, offended when we just forgot them on the sewers and start to expect stuff from them.
Yeah, but what happens if they ask for more? Are we just going to give it out to them like that?
We won't give them more. If they don't deserve more, why would we just give free land to them? They also help taking over the city, so and we won't delegate any important position for them now.
Yes, that does seem reasonable, I suppose. Not giving them an important position is probably wise. They certainly didn't do as much as some of the others in taking the city. He's lied through his teeth, Bacon. On virtually everything he said.
Good to know.
We're talking about the Gnosis, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
One in particular, remember, was working her ass off to safeguard the Milk Girl.
I disagree with you on that. I work with a few of the Nosferatu. They did a lot. Come on, Kurt, you were there with me.
Yeah. Didn't I work? I didn't work with any Nosferatu, no.
I did. Yay.
Yeah.
As mentioned. I was
I
going
think
to
I only worked
interject
for
after
one.
this is a little over, but
Yeah, but you still worked with them.
Respect
They
them.
did work a lot.
Are you done with your little spat with each other, or is it going to continue?
If we can stop moving Vivian closer to the prince, like you're trying to seduce him.
She's looking at his lap. It looks very inviting.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
on our time, she was on marriable age.
Well, we do need to discuss clan holdings in general, I believe. The Gangrel in particular want territory as their reward, apparently. So, if that is the group's decision, we should probably have at least some idea where that's gonna be.
Okay. Let's see. There. Places.
Near the 2 blocks. No, actually, it's very. Forgot about that.
Did you move the map? Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
didn't load.
Alright, so we're going to basically be giving Lakewood and Navarre.
Lakewood was
Yeah.
the cemetery, and we
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, I guess.
Bacon wanted that for the Giovanni.
Giovanni.
Oh,
wants to
I
keep
just
that for
heard Jackalor say that he wanted it for Giovanni. Nothing from Bacon
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
all I heard too.
Didn't Bacon
Yeah,
say
but-
that?
I
No.
don't think it's a good idea
Yeah.
to
Oh, what they
give
did.
the general the cemetery. I don't think that would appreciate that. Would you have done?
I think they'd usually be alright with that. They're usually pretty foresty, depending on what
Yeah.
cemetery it
No,
is.
this one is just not foresty at all.
Oh, okay, good to know. Navarre
Bunch of graves.
has some.
I'm
pretty-
thinking
that's
like-
probably part of the-
At this point, there's
I
a
think
map
I'm-
on the table, and people are just making notations, pulling the map this way and that off with pencil, just erasing, scribbling out new borders. No, no, no. This.
That's
Yeah.
probably not.
What about near the Venetian Isles? It's close to the city, a big park.
Oh, the Venetian Isles?
Mostly a lot of marshland and such. Do you want to go for that?
Oh, those. There.
Yeah.
It shows.
Oh, there.
They're on this smaller thing. It shows like over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I'm looking at
This
seeing
is
it.
to represent, this is still a big part of it, but it's not
Yeah.
generally particularly settled or anything.
Mhm.
I would have preferred something like Navarre Fairgrounds, and I mean, since I've already been offered a lot of land, possibly a bit of the marshlands over here. Yes, like maybe this area over here.
So, two major neighborhoods, the city park and the marshlands.
It's a lot of
He
shit.
was one.
I mean, I was
tower.
offered everything around New Orleans. This seems to be.
Yeah, but it's not particularly valuable.
I mean, I'm taking marshland as well. Are you saying that it's not valuable?
I'm noting
it's
that
not
you're
a
taking a lot
value-
of a lot of stuff inside the city.
I mean, two neighborhoods
Marsh-
isn't that much.
And
Yeah.
marshlands.
With a bit.
You already stated marshlands have no value, and it's just marshlands, city or not.
in pure,
They
in
don't
pure
have as much value.
yeah,
The-
So
no,
now you're changing
fine.
yourself.
The reason
No,
on
I did not
Venetian
say anything of the sort.
The
they
Bruja
don't-
just slams on the table like bang, bang, bang. The prince is trying to speak.
Thank you, Kurt. The region on Venetian Isles is actually not completely undeveloped. The northern part has some major roads and some buildings, but two neighborhoods, it's a lot of land.
Didn't you want to give a lot of land?
Yes, that's exactly what Vivian said.
I would say that two neighborhoods would be valuable, and some of the region on the Venetian Isles would be more valuable than the forest region around the city.
I'd have to disagree.
Oh, so you think that the region around the city is more valuable?
Then
No,
why don't you-
I disagree. I disagree with the statement that the area around is essentially unvaluable compared to these. I'm still staking two neighborhoods. I mean, and Kurt has always stated before, those who have proven themselves should get land. Me and my clan have proven myself, and what I want simply are two neighborhoods near my city park, near my domain that is, and a bit of marshland, undeveloped land. And that compared to all the forests, swamplands, and whatever you can find nasty critters outside the city, I think it's actually a fair deal.
Surely, my prince,
You're
if the
saying
Primogen
you
wants
just-
to wrestle some gators, there's no harm in that.
It does make for good sport, I will confirm.
So, would you just be happy with without the northern developed land and just pure marshlands then?
Out of character, what exactly like does Jyhad anticipate on the actual area? Like that area?
Like
just?
you get, if you took the Venetian Isles, you get all of that and even up to there. Pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't
the-
actually exactly looking for the entirety of the Venetian Islands. Like, I was actually looking for maybe just a part of it, not in the entirety of the marsh.
I mean, if that's the case, then you can actually just say everything south of the river.
Yeah, that could work.
Actually, the city water and sewage treatment are on these regions. They are more valuable than we realize.
So if anything goes wrong with that, you can blame the Gangrel. It's their job to guard that shit.
I mean, that was your, you know, this is kind of an in-between of, you know, they get their space, but they also have probably actually enough people to actually kind of control it. Instead of, you know, all of it. So this seems like a good in-between for, you know, guys' stuff. I'm speaking out of character.
Let's check fairgrounds on the map.
There, I have added Gangrel symbols to the appropriate areas that are currently being discussed.
I feel that this is reasonable.
We can accept that, but it's a lot of land. All the other clans will also demand a lot. We'll have to just put the argument that the Gangrel were one of the most useful during the conquest.
We do need to be somewhat careful. We need to give the Primogens some room to actually talk about their own things as well. So,
Oh yeah, we have another council meeting later.
Well, that is a good point. I have been granted the right to gather a certain amount of influence in the criminal and law circles, I would like some place where my clan could gather in peace. So, somewhere out of the way, where we won't be disturbed over much. Perhaps the Lakewood area could be granted to us then.
Want the cemetery?
Well, the cemetery and the surrounding city blocks for hunting would be sufficient, I think.
I was thinking on offering the region around Gretna on the south.
Oh, this place down here?
how? All of Gretna?
No, not all of the Gretna. It's more out of the way of the left region.
I feel like that would be counter to your interests, sire, and the well-being of the city, given that I would be far away from any potential duties if I made my
actually-
haven there.
You wouldn't, considering that I would probably that I'm planning to raise my tower on Marigny and the
There
high
are not
society and
very many bridges over the water, and it would be easier to navigate if I was based on the other side of the river.
Couldn't we give you some personal domain there then?
Well, I personally wouldn't much mind, of course, but my clan still needs some place where they can essentially gather and hunt.
So yeah, that's why I offer Gretna, as on the left side of the city is the main entrance from the road. It would be doing the way for everything if you want a quiet place.
Well,
Here's
given
a
that
proposition.
a this is, I believe, is it a cargo port still? I think it is.
Yeah, this is very much still a cargo port. It's a cargo port to this day,
Uh-huh.
just not used as much.
Well, given that smuggling is a criminal thing, perhaps some of the port areas could be granted to my use instead then.
Maybe Black Pearl then? Fitting name.
Where is
Well,
Black Pearl?
I don't think that's a port area.
I'm just
Oh,
going to literally
wait,
find
where are you talking about? Gretna?
Oh, actually, uh,
I mean, most of the places around here are a port area.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a, I
almost
was
all of
thinking
it is support.
I think we was referring to this region that has a major port as well. I
Just
think-
remember, the map we're using
no.
over here is from the 1950s, so...
No, that
Yeah.
region is different. It's more like a transportation port than a freight port. Smaller boats.
To a degree, they are somewhat the same thing sometimes.
No, they don't have support for big ships, just small ones.
Okay, so, gentlemen, where are we placing the Bruja?
I mean, we want him to
I
be
agree
on
with,
this.
I think it would Gretna would be a good place.
I mean, I'm gonna agree with Kurt that he wants that being closer to Prince and whatnot, and being on the actual side of the whatchamacallit city is a good thing, and he wants to be out of way. So what I'm looking mostly like is maybe down here, maybe at the riverside exactly. Maybe Irish Channel. I'm not sure how developed that place is.
Well, out of the
But
way more in terms of their domain where they are the masters and people don't come in without invitation kind of thing, then, so they don't have to gather in areas where just anyone can walk in on them without permission.
Yeah. In case it's not clear, the map we have right here is just a piece of New Orleans, but it's where the central stuff all is, so... was the point.
Don't worry, we'll add other maps of the surrounding areas as you come to control them, if you ever do.
Yeah, because it's a really big place, so... kind of figures, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He would generally be aiming for a warehouse slash dock worker kind of area. I personally have no idea where that would be, but wherever that is. So, essentially
Yeah.
can make sure that cargo, like weapons for overthrowing the prince, can move in freely.
This region
yeah, we're
is very port area.
I
yeah.
mean,
So Black
anywhere,
Pearl.
anywhere there's a pretty decent, access to the river or anywhere else, that will probably work then.
Yeah, we could just give him Gretna, you know?
Fuck off with Gretna. He does not want fucking Gretna.
He's already proved his point why he doesn't want Gretna. Must respect it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm actually checking out the satellite map. Good God, they've got the river on lock. Like, legit,
Yeah.
there's not a place with more than maybe a mile where there isn't a port.
Yeah, all the river. But if he has Black Pearl, he has his own golf place.
Gold or goat?
Obviously, that goes to inventory.
You could give that to your child and be like, no, that's central domain now.
So, you know how I mentioned that there's probably no way you could even try and, do the whole forestry area around either? Yeah, there's no way you could have. I don't care. You would have had to, like, make so many vampires just to maybe patrol it.
What, the one place at Venetian Island, or?
No,
No,
the forest
just
around. The one that
Warsaw.
you accepted,
Okay,
not
okay.
for Epic telling you. That was the joke.
I mean, I'm the one that suggested it because it made sense.
Oh,
But
for fuck's sake.
as I said, wasn't the prince.
I was
so.
the one who suggested it first.
Back
I'm
to
so
the
sad
business
now.
at hand. Also, fuck the Tremere.
Well,
Okay.
you mentioned giving some of the forest. I was talking about the entire area. So, at least from what I remember.
I mean, it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
Not really. Not really.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
We're talking politics.
Yeah.
No, you're talking politics out of character, which is a bad.
I mean, I think the princess made a good suggestion there.
That will perhaps be workable. How far would the territory extend from the Black Pearl area then?
You could control the part coast, but not too much deep inside on the city, or you could control a smaller port area but have more populated areas.
I believe we can find enough hunting areas around the ports there. I believe that will do fine. Okay. So that's the people at the table arranged for the most part. What about the other clans?
Hey, you skipped.
That was deliberate, Jackalor.
Yeah, they got their little piece. They're good.
Yeah, you got your fucking place.
They're not gonna speak up for you. You're gonna have
Yeah,
to do that.
I will raise an objection here. You have skipped someone, namely me.
Well, the Tremere
Don't
have
show me
their
evidence.
traditionally established territory already.
Yeah, Mid City.
Yes,
isn't it?
I'd like to make it formal.
Well, this raises a concern. The regent here does have, I believe, incurred the dislike of the Gangrel clan. So him being right up to the border of the Gangrel territory, which we already assigned, is perhaps a bad idea for stability.
I
Oh,
don't
tried
think
to fuck
that
him over
we
in
could
city. Good job.
see his tower away. I think that he should control that area. I mean, I don't think that anybody could, besides the Tremere, should come near this tower.
I mean, clearly the chantry is theirs, but perhaps their actual domain should be somewhere else.
I don't agree with this. I think the Mid City is a good place to have the clan Tremere domain.
They already have the control of the area, and if we keep them at domain far away, and they spend the most part of their time in the Chantry, so it wouldn't work properly.
This does raise a security concern, because if their domain is right around the mid-city, it makes it difficult to track and deal with anyone that might be, for example, breaking the masquerade, because who's to say they will not hide inside the chantry? not to say that the regent would hide a trespasser or a
Yes,
violator, but
Sir Regent, would you be willing to allow the sheriff jurisdiction where such matters pertain?
If everyone else is willing to do so as well.
Draculor, make a wits politics roll if you have politics.
I have politics.
Difficulty 5, because this is well-known facts for you. It's just nagging at the back of your mind that, you know, your clan might dislike someone else having any sort of jurisdiction inside the chantry.
But that is only in. But I don't. It does not include the chantry itself, right, or its immediate surroundings.
That
Well,
invalidates exactly what I asked.
Yes.
Okay,
Then
so
no.
that is the exact problem. If they can just duck inside the chantry and go, nah, 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 you can't get us, then what kind of order can there be? Are the Tremere to be above the law?
I will
believe
personally escort anyone out of the chantry that has broken the laws of the city.
How can we be so sure?
All it takes is for you to say that they haven't broken any laws and we're at an impasse again.
If you can
Really?
prove that they have broken any laws, I would, as I said,
How are we to
personally-
prove anything if we can't question them? They can just deny it, and if you back them, then we can go nowhere. This solves nothing.
You could
This
always
does seem
question
like an
them within
issue.
the chantry. Within the chantry.
That was permission. All right.
You could, but I will not let you enter without my permission.
Okay, so you're letting him inside the chantry to question people.
Only if he has evidence, of course.
Yeah,
But then that's-
he has a problem with that because evidence comes from questioning people. He has to be allowed to question suspects on his say-so. That's the job of the sheriff, essentially. Hence why he has a... Well, if we can't come to an agreement on this very important point, then I believe my argument stands for assigning the Tremere domain elsewhere.
I don't think that the regent would keep someone that broke the law against away from us.
But my good prince, we can't be sure. We've just established this.
More so,
Don't
it would
worry.
be impossible
I
to
will
establish guilt without access to the suspects.
I will know, and I think that if we have any suspect, the regent could just escort them to our tower, to my tower, so we could question him.
So, will the regent consent to handing over any suspects to the prince's custody?
Yes.
Alright. Then given
The
that I
prince
will
is
be the
mine.
one carrying out the prince's will in the matters of law, you would be handing them over to me either way.
Okay, like.
I was wondering when he'd get it.
I mean, I knew this, but if the prince, of course, if the prince asks me to hand over anyone, I will hand them over without question.
Does Sire truly wish to be bothered every time a potential offender might be a Tremere?
Oh, yes. We don't underestimate the Tremere. Their magic is something that can have
Sire,
big effect.
did perhaps the least other than providing a way in the taking of the city.
Oh, besides William not helping directly on the taking of the city, I worked with him before, and believe me, he is more than capable on his rituals and
Well,
his
perhaps,
experiments.
but a great many people will misunderstand favoritism towards the Tremere given that they just stood here and guarded their chantry while the rest of us bled to take the city.
William, for how many years did you hold the chantry on the city under Sabbath control?
50.
50 years. So, yes, I think that they deserve some respect for surviving 50 years under the Sabbath.
Well, certainly they should get domain and they should be rewarded, but the law still must be upheld. I see no reason to single them out for special treatment over others
they
who have
won't,
done as much.
and they won't have any special treatment when someone is suspected on the Tremere. They will be sent to the tower under my orders.
Bacon common sense wise, you know that in practice this would result in special treatment, because it would make people more reluctant to question Tremere or bring them to the sheriff's attention, because it would make it impossible to deal with them without involving the prince. It would
Yep,
grant them immunity to many complaints.
How my common sense says that other cities work.
Well, generally, singling out a single clan that is perceived as being cowardly would be seen as unfair and arbitrary, which is a bad thing.
Usually the Tremere do have their chantry, and most of the time they don't have anything to do with the politics of the city, but a sheriff technically can still usually get in there if they need to.
You're essentially
Not many Tremere
cocking...
like it, but...
Yeah, you're essentially tying your sheriff's hands, or at least tying one of his hands behind his back, in terms of controlling the Tremere, which they will take advantage of.
I always thought that the sheriff couldn't enter a normal Tremere chantry, but so
They can generally, yes. Just me not wanting to piss off my clan.
so if common sense had activated earlier,
Basically, he's trying to gain brownie points with his own clan by doing this. It's not about...
It's... The sheriff has the right to enter there. Usually they might not, but giving someone immunity as long as they're on chantry grounds, or effective immunity, unless you override it anyway, is a bad idea. It gives them way too much ground to defy the law of the land.
Okay, that was something that I did not know out of character, so yeah, the sheriff would probably need a way to come in the chantry. He should not be barred from investigating inside.
As the prince commands.
And now you have Mid-City and the chantry, and you're set up normally. Congratulations.
Jackalor,
Was
that
roll
so?
perception empathy on the sheriff.
Sure.
And Demi, do you want to change the
Oh, God.
from Navarre to Lakeshore? I don't think that the Gangrel will be happy right next to the Tremere.
It's okay.
Lakeview is larger. Notably.
But more out of the way. Yeah, he's sort of trying to hide it, but he's very happy with having rubbed your face in the dirt. He knows who his friends at this table are. I think on that we can take a break and split it here.